Hey, I can
which
dig it.
which equates to we're never late.
Hey, I used to tell the soldiers all the time, hey, I ain't never late. I'm only delayed.
That's right. So
I don't know. I've been late a few times.
for those that are joining us, um, it's Saturday. It's the day after Veterans Day. Happy Veterans Day to all of you veterans on here right now. What's up? Look, I went out with an attempt. My sister sent me a picture of all the free food she got, and I usually don't go out, but I was like, man, that's a lot of good stuff. But by the time I got out there to get the stuff, every time I would get to a spot, I was like, yeah, nah, I'm not going in there. It's too packed. Nope, I can't do it. It was crazy.
Yes, some of them places are so packed, man. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, so I found myself sitting in a bunch of parking lots, and I got a Texas Roadhouse deal,
Ooh.
and
Okay.
so we got Texas Roadhouse, and I went to Olive Garden. So look, I'm trying to get this thing pulled up. So tell me what y'all do for Veterans Day. And I asked the question yesterday, and nobody answered me. So I'm gonna ask you gents, what was Veterans Day originally known as?
Ooh.
I think it was the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month.
Oof. That's good.
That's a board question.
It is a board question. The end of the war to end all wars, which did not do very well.
Come on, Matt.
Armistice Day.
It's Armistice Day, yes. I don't know why my stuff is not showing us. It is not liking us right now.
We can just sit and have a talk for a little while.
Uh-oh. It sounds like somebody else is in the car.
Oh yeah, Matt's in the car, Mario's in the car.
Yeah. Man, I'm trying to multitask, doing homework, got my son karate class, and trying to be on here with you guys. So yeah, y'all got to excuse me if y'all hear some moving around.
Oh no, you good, bro. You good.
Y'all making it happen.
We are definitely just trying to get this screen share up so that I can see everybody. And we'll be good. Ooh, what is that? Man, if people are watching, yeah, I don't have my S6 here. So don't be mad at your boy. I don't know what is going on right now. It was working fine just a second ago.
The IT gremlins are at it.
They are. I can't see anybody, but we can hear you. So everybody that's out there, thank y'all for tuning in. Again, today is Saturday. It's Coffee, Crepes, Leadership, and Pancakes. Today's article is a very good article. It was written by Scott Gregory, and the article is called "The Most Common Type of Incompetent Leader." The most common. That's something that I never would have thought was put together. Like the most common incompetent person. It's like, well, it's not something that I kind of polled. But it's a really good read. So if you get a chance to, you go to the Harvard Business Review. Look up the most common type of incompetent leader, and it's by Scott Gregory. Scott Gregory. Shout out to the authors, man. These guys, they doing their thing, giving us good topics to discuss. And if you have more questions about the articles, man, you can shoot us a message. Drop a message right. I'm pointing like you can see me, but you can't right now. Just drop a message down there, and man, we'll hit you back. Maybe shoot you some details, hook you up in case you're like a lot of us and you're kind of nerdy. Right, Matt? Let's see. All right.
Yes, my inner nerd for sure. He doesn't stay on the inside very often, though.
No, not very often, which is good. It's good. Okay, so this article, we starting it off. A young friend recently remarked that the worst boss he ever had would provide him with feedback that always consisted of, "You're doing a good job, great job." But they both knew it wasn't true. The organization was in a disarray, turnover was excessive, and customers were not happy. My friend was giving it his all, but he needed more support and better feedback than he received. Been there. He wanted a leader who would be around when he needed them and who would give him substantive advice, not platitudes. As a measure of his frustration, he said, "I would rather have had a boss who yelled at me or made unrealistic demands than this one who provided empty praise." Man, I don't want to stop too early, but there's some points here I want to hit. And if you guys want to jump in, just jump in and let me know. Matt, one of the points that you pointed out earlier was we don't want to be excessively negative, but as leaders, we need to understand the value of useful feedback, constructive criticism, and constructive praise. We talked about this before, and sometimes people may think that it's abrasive, but it's not really abrasive if you consider the phrase that we talk about a lot, iron sharpens iron. Well, just land those two pieces together, don't do anything. You got to create that friction, so that you have to provide that true, accurate feedback, so that you are sharpening yourself and the people around you. That's the reason why we do the 360 reviews, is so that you could get an honest assessment from top, bottom, and from your sides, your left and your right, on how you're doing. And you take the good, you take the bad, filter through it, get the legit stuff, because some people are going to be like, "Oh, you didn't bring donuts." And it's like, come on, man, I was asking you to give me a serious assessment. Oh, everything was great, you just didn't bring donuts. It's like, come on, man. So in those assessments, you want to be specific. You're doing a very good job at this thing, or you need to work on your attitude, effort, technique, timing, communication, interpersonal skills, etc. That was you, Matt. You want to add anything to that?
The excessively negative thing, I can come across as excessively negative because people aren't used to, they're not used to that constructive criticism, right? They're not used to anything other than just either being screamed at or being told, "Hey, good job." And I've been told that before. And one of the things that I've made an effort to try and do is add in that positive reinforcement as well. I don't thrive with positive reinforcement personally. If people tell me "good job," okay, I need you to tell me "good job" at what, right? I need that specificity. I need someone to be able to say, if you're going to make some sort of comment, and it needs to make sense to me, Right. And "good job" just doesn't do it. But I'm a word-based person, so it needs to really mean something. And something that I've taken on is trying to get in that positive reinforcement that can also actually be impactful. Not just "Hey, thanks for showing up today," but "Hey, thanks for showing up today because what it did was, hey, thanks for being early today," or "Hey, thanks for making sure you drag people along with you today when you did this,"
Right. That's good.
That's something I'm working on.
Yeah. Mario or Joe, you guys got anything y'all want to add to that one? Mario,
Yeah,
your
man.
hands up. I got you. Go ahead, Joe, then Mario.
Okay. Yeah, Matt, I love what you're talking about with that specificity, man. It's easy for leaders to be able to give you negative comments, not necessarily constructive, but negative. You didn't do a good job. It normally flows pretty easy for that, but to turn it around for it to be positive, leaders struggle at that too. And one of the greatest examples I can think about being specific when it comes to being positive is when it's time to write about one of your subordinates on an evaluation report, on an impact award or service award, whatever the case may be. They struggle at it, and I know we've all seen leaders that not make it to where their talent, their potential says they should be, because that leader failed to learn how to communicate in writing to be able to properly acknowledge and identify what their subordinates are good at and not so good at.
That's good. We have audio and visual people.
Yeah,
Well,
we're back in business.
welcome to the show, everybody. Now y'all can see my beautiful face and Joseph's beautiful face, and you can hear Matt and Mario.
Indeed.
Hey, shout out to Phil, man. If you're on the show, man, shout out to you. We know you out there doing your thing. If you guys see the flyer, let us know what you think about it. If anybody think they can do better, help a brother out. But yeah, man, Mario, what you got? What you want to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, both points were from Joseph and Matthew was awesome. It just made me think about, how, a real leader knows the audience that they're entertaining. You have to know your subordinates and what type of feedback they need to further their progress. You can't, just like my mom always said, you can't raise 4 children the same way. Everybody needs different type of love. Everybody needs different type of discipline. So knowing your audience, you know what I mean, and their needs and their desires, like Matt said, he doesn't just operate off of, good job, thumbs up, keep going, buddy. He actually needs details on what he has done, where he has failed, and where he has succeeded. And I think that is optimal leadership right there, when you know the components that you need to establish with your subordinates.
That's good. I like that. Some of us got the hands-on, the wall-to-wall counseling. Some of us just got a pat on the back.
I like that. I like that.
Like, didn't I tell you to what? Wash them
That's
dishes.
the type of discipline my son needs. He need that wall-to-wall action.
I think I had 2 of them that needed wall-to-wall. One of them I can look at and be like, you understand what's about to go down? Yup. Yes, sir. I'm straight. All right. Researchers have studied managerial derailment, or the dark side of leadership, for many years. The key derailment characteristics of bad managers are well documented and fall into 3 broad behavioral categories. Moving away behaviors, which create distance from others through hyper-emotionality, diminished communication, and skepticism that erodes trust. Moving against behaviors, which overpower and manipulate people while aggrandizing, yes, that word, the self. And 3, moving towards behaviors, which include being ingratiated, overly conforming, and reluctant to take chances or stand up for one's team. The popular media is full of examples of bad leaders in government, academia, and business with these characteristics. However, my friend was describing something arguably worse than an incompetent boss. His manager was not overtly misbehaving, nor was he ranting narcissistic sociopath. Rather, his boss was a leader in title only. And know some of those. His role was leadership, but he provided none. My friend was experiencing absentee leadership. And unfortunately, he is not alone. Absentee leadership rarely comes up in today's leadership or business literature, but research shows that it is the most common form of incompetent leadership. Pin drop. Let's spin our wheels right here. So when I read this article, I walked in thinking I'm gonna be reading about incompetent leaders, like how they're incompetent, and I can't read when I'm learning. I need to put my glasses on so that I can see the words clearly. But yeah, then you realize that one of the biggest failures that's not highlighted is an absent leader. Which goes back to the flip side of that, is why one of the leadership things that we talk about a lot, at least in the Army, is a leader of presence.
Presence. That is correct.
It's crazy. It's like they don't tell us that, this is why, we're telling you to be present or be a leader of presence. But it makes so much more sense now, because I've been in an experience where it was like, well, this is not anywhere near the best leader that we have, but this is the only person we have, so we'll just put him in the position and fill a slot. And because they have the rank to fill the slot now, we're going to fill that slot. And that individual is absolutely, they were a true space ghost. Space ghost.
That's it.
I ain't trying to offend anybody. That's why I ain't saying any names and I ain't saying any places. But if you don't know Space Ghost, man, go back. You're missing out. That's a classic.
That Cartoon Network, man. Tell me hit it up.
That's a classic, man. But they're there, but they're not there. You won't see them. And when you do talk to them and you catch them, it's like remember those videos that the social media content creators was making about the warrant officer powers when the coffee mug was moving, but nobody was there. Hey, you can see them right there, but nobody's home. And unfortunately, we have a lot of people that's in those places, in those positions, and that's more dangerous than having someone that is, it can be more dangerous because it does fall back down to the next level. So that next level leader has to be the one that say, you know what, I'm not going to let this affect the rest of my people. We're going to move forward and execute at least at my, maximum potential, so I can get somebody that's going to mentor me to move forward. So you guys got anything y'all want to put on that?
Yeah, man. I love the presence part of it. I think that's the element that makes the Sergeant E5 that base level of leadership one of the most challenging yet most rewarding jobs you can have in the United States Army, because Sergeant has to be present.
That's
right? You can't send the soldiers out to go do stuff just because you told them to go do it and expect for it to be done, and certainly not expect for them to respect you, because why weren't you out there with us, right? It was cold, it was hot, it was raining, whatever the case may be. But if you're out there with them, in the suck with them soldiers will do whatever it is that you ask them to do.
Right.
Even when you tell them to go, I can't come this time, but I need you to go do this. They're going to do it anyways, because they know if you could, you'd be right there alongside us. That way, when I run into an obstacle that I don't know how to overcome, or somebody says something to me that I really can't handle, and I want to act in my real character, I should say.
Yes.
You're there to stop that and protect me in my career.
Don't we all need it?
We all need that.
We all need it. Look, I'm gonna tell you, your sister said something that was profound for me. One time she got very upset, and she said, I knew she was very upset because of what she said and how she said it. So I'm gonna try to emulate. She said, "You're gonna make me take my Bible backpack off."
Hey, I need that something to really laugh on that one.
Yeah. I said, "Uh-oh."
That's real.
Uh-oh. Let me grab her real quick. Come here. Let's talk. Here, let me give you a hug, man.
Yeah.
She's about to take it off.
Uh-huh.
Hey.
Don't do it.
That was, in other words, she's about to lose her religion. Shout out to Kirk Franklin.
Shout out to Kirk Franklin.
Hey. She was about to go ham on somebody. And I'm glad she had the presence of mind to let them know what was about to happen. And it gave me the presence of mind to intervene. So yes, we do need that. Those leaders that do that and are able to know and guide us. And when you do that, even when they're not present, because you were there so much, you're present here. You're there. So when they get ready to do something, that conscience, that thought, that small voice is like, I don't want to let this person down. I don't want to make this person look bad. Sometimes those leaders are the ones that's like the best, because they've instilled this desire to want to not make them feel good, make them proud, but just don't let them down. You know, have you ever had leaders like that you just didn't want to fail, you didn't want them to feel like, you know, you were a disappointment to them? What you got, Mario? I see your hand up.
Yeah, it was what you was just saying. It just kind of resonated with me and it brought me back to the remembrance of how Jesus was with his disciples. You know what I mean? How he was always there, even if he wasn't there in physical, he was there spiritually and mentally, which caused them to stay the course. And it also reminds me of, you know, Dad and the rules, or I could say the guidelines of being a man, especially a Christian man, you know. And now that he's gone, you know, those values still stick with us. Like you said, a person of straight influence and inspiration, they're sticking with you when they're not even around.
That's right.
And I've had managers to where it's, you know, it'll come back to me a lesson learned that I experienced with them, even in their absence. So yeah, that one definitely hit home, the way you made it, the way you were saying it. So I appreciate it.
That's good. You got anything on that, Matt?
You know, I think I do, and very good points there. But I think personally, one of the things that we have to take into account as leaders is we're the embodiment at some level. Well, everybody below us, we're the embodiment of them, of the unit, the organization that we belong to. And if you want people to be, you know, proud of the unit and have that unit pride, that ownership, and that ability to really connect and say, hey, I care about what it is that I'm doing, to an extent, they have to do that and identify that way with you. So you, in turn, have to be that person, right? You know, I think the people that I've wanted to really live up to, the people that I've wanted to say, hey, I'm a part of their organization. I care about this because of them. Or we're the ones who really did just that. They embody, you know, they were proud of the unit. And even in some times when it was really tough, you know, we've all come into a unit, an organization, a corporation or whatever, where we thought, hey, this is not going to be great. You know, this place doesn't have a very good reputation, or things are wrong here. And you get that one boss that just goes, we've got something to be proud of. And being able to have that person, or to be that person, is how we create that care, that unity of thought, you know?
Yeah, that's good. Mario, you got your hands up. What you got?
Yeah, that was on point, man. I definitely I love how you put that. But I wanted to comment on when you were saying, Tay, about, you know, sometimes people that just have the rank or the title are put in positions that they really are not equipped to handle. I know in my career, you know, I've definitely been put in positions where I'm covering down, or I am in that position to where I really don't have experience in it. But the mindset of not being too proud. What does that song say? Ain't too proud to beg, ain't too proud to ask for help from your subordinates. You know what I mean? A good leader isn't afraid to say, hey, I don't know. You know what I mean? Help me understand. You know, help me learn what I need to know. So in return, we all can look good. We all can help each other. Like you said, iron sharpens iron. You know what I mean? But we also helpers one to another. You know what I mean? We can't sharpen each other's iron and not be willing to help each other through the thick and the thin.
That's right.
So I definitely I like that aspect of what you were talking about.
Good stuff. You got anything on that, Joe?
Man, I really love what they're talking about. And there's some specific that Matt said about how we embody the organization for our subordinates. You know, we talk about drinking the Kool-Aid, right? And when you drink the Kool-Aid, go ahead and sign away and become indefinite, right? You know, because as old soldiers, you know, it's just like, hey, it is what it is, right? But it was some leader impact on you that caused you to say, I'm okay with the word indefinite. I mean, that's a terrifying word when you really think about it.
Yeah, when you first, you're like, what?
What? Indefinite? What does that mean?
I gotta ask for permission?
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
Not yesterday now, but Thursday, at work, young's on first class in there, right? She got 10 years in the Army and coming up on 1 year time and grade, right? And we were just talking about indefinite status, because the good master sergeant that's there on the team, she was like, yeah, I requested retirement and they denied it. And she was like, what? Like, I've heard about it. I've never met nobody. That's real?
That's
yes,
real.
It's real.
real.
It's called indefinite.
Yeah, that's it.
RCP. Yeah. You are not guaranteed to go. No
That's right.
way. And but we serve with honor and integrity because somebody impacted on us, and there are other soldiers that say, you know what, I was gonna get out the Army before I met you, and now because I met you, I'm gonna stay Army. I'm gonna keep doing this because I now have hope. And I say that word hope not lightly. It's I think it's important for us as leaders to be able to instill a measure of hope in every person that we interact with, because everybody has hard times.
That's right.
And there's strength through service. I'll say it like that.
That's good. Hey, look, everybody that's out there watching, if you're interested in the article, you can find it in the Harvard Business Review. And if you have further questions, you can go ahead and reach out to us. Drop a message in the message box. Mine is over here. Yours will probably pop up there. Either way, we'll see it. I'll see it, and then we'll push you some information on how you can get the article. Okay. All right. So absentee leaders are people in leadership roles who are psychologically absent from them. That's good. People in roles who are. Remember I was saying that? You may see them, but they're not there. Nobody's home. Nobody's home. Yes. They were promoted into management and enjoy the privileges and rewards of a leadership role, but avoid meaningful involvement with their teams. Absentee leadership resembles the concept of rent-seeking in economics, taking value out of an organization without putting value in. Yes. As such, they represent a special case of laissez-faire leadership, but one that is distinguished by its destructiveness. I'm going to drop a pin right here. You got a note, Matt. You remember what it was, or you want me to read it?
No, I've got it. I actually made it home. I just haven't clocked off to get back into video.
Okay.
That's what it was. And I read through this earlier just to make sure that I was back on point here. One of the problems that we have is the visibility of that absentee leadership. So I am currently I'm in a very confusing situation because my unit is deployed without me, unfortunately. But when they are all home, I'm in a situation where we're sort of like a battalion in between, right? So I've got a hospital center and they've got a brigade above them. So there's like that first tier and second tier brigade, and we've got a field hospital, which is sort of like used to be a cache and sort of like a battalion. So it's an interesting situation. But one of the things that we run into is that presence and that ability to be attached to those people, that unit, that mission, and be present. I can be more present than my command sergeant major at the hospital center, even though he's just up the street, maybe a half a mile. But I don't have brigade constantly breathing down my neck. You know what I mean? I don't have quite the same up and out requirements that he's got. So my ability to have that face time with the first sergeants, the master sergeants, the sergeant first class, the staff sergeants, and beyond is increased. But at the same time, I have far more expectations to be spending that time with the sergeant first classes, with my first sergeant, and say, hey, I'm here. What do you need from me? And sort of running back and forth on that. So that's that battalion as that level of leadership, I think, where it really starts to break away, and you run into the problem of, am I actually present for these soldiers? And then, of course, the argument of how much do I need to be present for these soldiers? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think the last thing I said there is my most relevant point is that we need to remain relevant for the soldiers. I might not be able to spend all the time in the world with them, but the time that I do spend with them needs to be relevant to them, to the mission, to everything else. In any battalion situation, You don't see your battalion command sergeant major that much as a squad leader, right? But when you do, it's got to be more than just a pat on the back and a hey, good job type of thing. Right. You've got to know what's going on. You've got to be able to inspire them, to lead them from your level as well.
Yeah, it's you have a very fine opportunity when you're leading, and then you run into those individuals, right? I mean, because they're like, it's no way this person knows who I am, and you can either confirm or, obliterate that. Like, oh shoot, they know who I am. They know what's going on in my life. Now
that is a great way.
That leaders, their immediate supervisors who briefed them, which is what you should be doing, because there's no way you're gonna know everybody what's going on in everybody's life, right? But you could get those ones that are doing the superstars, because what do they say? 90% of the time you're dealing with 10% of your population. That 10% of your population is usually I wouldn't say problem children, but it's not always problem children. Sometimes it's just children that's having a lot of problems. Right? Yeah. Preferably it's the children that's having problems instead of problem children, but they both there, right there. So it's problems, some type of problems, right? And so when you're having that, it's so good. I used to love when we would have our runs, our battalion or brigade runs, and we would get an opportunity to highlight, our superstars, our rockers. But even better when you got to highlight someone who wasn't necessarily a rock star, but they did something that was really good. Somebody that you just wanted to highlight, and you got to bring them up in front of everybody. And a lot of times we, as the detachment sergeants or first sergeant, would get to do it. But, it was even more, that stamp was on it even more when, like, the commander or, that senior enlisted advisor said something about him. That soldier's eyes be like, oh, what? They're calling me? I mean, I can remember when they told me, I came in one day, I was a junior soldier, and they was like, Sergeant Major wants you to come to his office. I almost had a heart attack. I was thinking about everything. I'm like, did I do something wrong? Man, hold up. I'm checking all these blocks. I'm like, man, I play on the team. I do all these things because he was a big basketball fan and all this stuff. And I'm just like, did I do something on the court? Because when I was on the court, man, sometimes I would be tempted to put my Bible backpack down for real. I was a different person on that basketball court. Yeah, I'm guilty as charged, Your Honor.
Straight Draymond Green, huh?
Man, yeah, I wasn't punching people. Well, maybe I might have. It was bad. I was very aggressive on the basketball court, but they called me and told me that, and so they said he's at. They said no. Then they say that wasn't that time. This was the commander. They said the commander wanted you, and I was trying to think about what all was what, and he wants you to come to our OIC's office. I get to the OIC's office. It's my wife sitting in there. They was like, yeah, the commander. That's the commander. Yes, that is the commander. I'm like, y'all just gave me a heart attack for nothing. I mean, my wife is important, but I'm thinking military commander is in the office, and I just did something. Why else do you get a junior soldier having to go see the commander? Right? So
exactly.
I went way down a rabbit hole. My bad, fellas. Y'all know how I do. All right. So, anybody else have anything they want to add to that?
Yeah, man. I wanted to jump on that point of them taking out of the organization, but not putting it in, putting anything back, any value back in. It's kind of reminds me. Y'all heard of a story of a senior leader who would deliver ski masks to soldiers who were robbing the organization.
We ain't gonna say no names about that leader, but I know exactly who that leader was.
to those who were robbing the United States Army of its value and putting nothing in. And we've all met folks like that, and I've actually seen leaders be very successful off of that technique too. They squeeze every drop out of the organization, put as little to nothing as possible in, and then move on to the next spot to destroy.
Yeah.
To devour. And I I kind of look at it like, I think I'll teach it like this from now on. You're overdrawing the account, right?
Yeah.
And so when you're managing a bank account, if you want to keep that bank account balanced, you got to put in just as much, if not more, than you take out, right? Because if you put in just as much as you take out, then you'll never have anything. But if you put more in than you take out, then the bank account will grow. It will flourish. It will become something that you could only dream of. And so I really like that point, because I think it's easy to fall on that path of, especially when you got a prestigious position. You know what I mean? When you grow up and you kind of get to do what you want to do, people give you autonomy. You know, you can show up late to meetings, whatever the case may be, and it's not really a big deal. That's when you're tempted the greatest at taking more out of the organization than you put in.
Yeah, that's good. Mario, you had your hand up. What you got?
Yes, sir. Joseph, he tap danced all on the point I was going to make about the bank. So, hey, great minds think alike. I appreciate it. But yeah, it's definitely, you know what I mean? We have to have, personal governors. You know what I mean? Where, like, if you think about a car that's only supposed to go a certain fast amount of RPRs, or however you talk that car talk, but you're supposed to go so fast in this car, but when it gets to that level, that governor kicks in and keeps you in check. I think that is something that we as people, as supervisors, employees, leaders, we need to have those personal governors that keep us in check, so we're not, robbing the system or taking out more of the account than we can actually put back in. And just being held accountable for your own actions is one of the greatest lessons that you can ever teach somebody, to be accountable when and when you're around people and when you're not. You know what I mean? So yeah, when you made that statement, I was thinking, yeah, that bank account, man, is deficient. So yeah.
Look, can you imagine?
Insufficient funds.
Insufficient funds. Look, I just want to drop something real quick. Can you imagine walking into your office and seeing your soldier sitting there with ski mask on?
Hey, I'm strapped all the time, so that won't be good.
I mean, they sitting there doing work. They sitting at the computer like this right here. They
With all my heart, since hearing that, there have been days where I wanted to walk in the office and see a soldier sitting there with a ski mask on, and everybody knows why he got the ski mask on.
You know why?
I know why. You are guilty as charged.
Guilty. You got caught robbing the government, buddy. Go sit down and do your daggone work with your ski mask.
Robbing all of the American people, the hardworking Americans who pay taxes. You can rob them blind. Put this mask on.
We should apply that to some of our politicians. Go and throw your ski mask on.
Ooh.
And I ain't political. I can care less what party is what party. If you ain't doing for the people, go and throw your ski mask on, man.
Put that ski mask on. As a matter of fact, every press conference you show up to, you need to have that ski mask on. That way we know. I know. I got it. I knew it. You are a thief.
Yes. And never mind that you can't tell who it is. We verify who it is, but they have to wear this until they get right. So
until they get right or voted out of office. Yeah.
Fox News. This is Fox News reporting. Yeah, I would love it. Hey, it would have some accountability effect, man.
It would.
It just hurts my heart when I see it. But anyway, so back to the most common type of incompetent leaders, which everything that we've been talking about has been legit and it applies, right? Because if you sitting in a position where that's legislative, judicial, executive, and you're not there, you physically but not mentally there, you robbing the government, you robbing the people, you robbing
not
us.
State, but one of the things that I heard a year or so ago was the annoyance in someone's comments when they said, these are not our elected leaders, these are lawmakers, and that's great, but they're not our leaders. And whether whether that's true in fact or just in their opinion, there is some truth to it. What we have is we have representatives, and we have people that are supposed to say and do right and on our behalf, and that's great. But it's not to make comments like you said to get too terribly political about it, but it's been a long time since we've had a leader who was a leader.
That's right.
You know, as far as elected officials are concerned, because there is that extreme left and right that you have to look at. We're a very large country with a lot of people and a lot of different views and everything, but I have a very large organization with a lot of people with a lot of different views as well, and a common message still gets across to all of them. There is a way to do that, and I think that a lot of our people are missing that, unfortunately, to the point where people don't even see them as such.
Mm-hmm. That's right. That's right. And you said a key word, representative. A lot of them ain't representatives either.
Yeah.
You know, it's unfortunate. Not to go so far in the political realm. I know some people are like, oh, I'm out. They talking about politics. We ain't talking politics. We talking about everyone. Us as a U.S. Unified, one country. What you got, Mario?
Yeah, I like what Matt was saying about the representative and people just being the lawmakers or standing in those positions of. You know how they say that everybody they can't teach. Everybody's not a teacher. Everybody's not a leader. Everybody's not a manager. And just because you have accumulated wealth or great standings in that position don't mean you could teach somebody or show people how to get there as well.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like me as a personal trainer, I've learned how to teach somebody to do what I do, but everybody that is in the gym working out is not a teacher. So
right.
You have to be careful who you give that title to as a leader. You know what I mean? Because everybody isn't there to lead. Some people are just there to be noticed. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I like that. That's a very good point.
That is good. All right, so having a boss who lets you do as you please may sound ideal, especially if you're being bullied and micromanaged by your current boss. The grass is always greener on the other side. Or is it? However, a 2015 survey of 1,000 working adults showed that 8 of the top 9 complaints about leaders concerned behaviors that were absent. Employees were most concerned about what their bosses didn't do. Clearly, from the employee perspective, absentee leadership is a significant problem, and it's even more troublesome than other more overt forms of bad leadership. Research shows that being ignored by one's boss is more alienating than being treated poorly. The impact of absentee leadership on a job satisfaction outlasts the impact of both constructive and overtly destructive forms of leadership. Constructive leadership immediately improves job satisfaction, but the effects dwindle quickly. Destructive leadership immediately degrades job satisfaction, but the effects dissipate after about 6 months. In contrast, the impact of absentee leadership takes longer to appear, but it degrades subordinates' job satisfaction for at least 2 years. Wow. It also is related to a number of other negative outcomes for employees like role ambiguity, health complaints, and increased bullying from team members. Absentee leadership creates employee stress, which can lead to poor employee health outcomes and talent drain. And we're supposed to be managing that talent, which then impacts an organization's bottom line. Pin right there. What you got on this ADP 622, Matt?
One of the things that we're told directly to do is provide purpose, direction, and motivation. And we can't do that if we're not present. Plain and simple. It's that message I was talking about. You embody the message of the unit. You embody the unit. You can't get across what you want your people to be doing if you're not there.
That's right. That's right. You was about to say something, Mario?
No, I was just, I really liked the reading. It was really good. It made really great points. But I did think about, again, as my example of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, how if he would have just told the disciples to go out and do these wondrous things without actually showing them how to do it, it never would have got done. They never would have been able to figure out how to cast out demons, how to feed the hungry, how to, spread the word of God, if they didn't see their leader, do it. So being absent and giving directions is like leading the blind. You're being in a dark room trying to find the light switch. You know what I mean? So I think, being present and accountable and also leading by example is the way a leader should go instead of, just giving direction.
Man, you all in my paper. I just wrote about that. Almost verbatim. That's good. Okay.
Yes, sir.
That's good. What you got, Joe?
Oh, excuse me. I was thinking about what the uniform represents when somebody sees it. Especially with Matt talking about embodying, right? And for those of us who's had the privilege of being a first sergeant, that without saying anything, soldiers and leaders alike are supposed to be able to look at you and know that you are, right?
That's good.
The uniform inspires hope in some and fear in others. There's some stuff in between there too.
Right.
But I want to focus just on those two: hope in some, fear in others. And I'll take it from the leadership perspective. Earlier we was talking about, man, I just don't want to disappoint that leader. That's that. And then when I say fear, I don't mean fear like oh God, I'm afraid, but that the healthy reverence of, I don't want to disappoint.
That's right.
Right. And then hope. Let's say we're in the field, right? And the suck has begun. Typically, when we go to the field, we know the suck begins shortly after 24 hours of completion.
That's
Sometimes a lot earlier than that, the suck begins, right?
That's right.
And soldiers look to set leaders in set positions to be there, and they just need to see you. They don't always need to hear from you, right? They just need to see that you're there. And that gives them that provision of how to go through, how to go on. You know what I mean? Last time we were on, we were just talking about being transparent enough to allow soldiers to see you, or your subordinates to see you as you go through your tough times.
Right.
And then they learn how to behave themselves after you. And so purpose, direction, and motivation, those are very, very broad terms. And there are many actions that can define them depending on the type of organization that you're in. Yet the principles of it are the same. Give a good example of principles. Principles don't change. If you jump off a roof, you're going to fall and hit the ground. If you jump off a curb, you're still going to hit the ground. It just won't be as hard.
That's right.
And then you ask them boys who put their knees in the breeze, you still going to hit the ground. Much harder than what you would normally hit it. But the principle of gravity does not change. No matter what environment you put it in, the rule of gravity, that principle does not change. And if you truly believe in serving others, then the environment that you're in, if you have proper principles, they won't change.
That's right. And one of those principles need to be presence.
My man.
Be present. Okay, if absentee leadership is so destructive, why don't we read more about it in the business literature? Consider a story I recently heard about the dean of a well-known law school. Two senior, well-regarded faculty members called the provost to complain about their dean because he said, let's see, where is it? My thing just jumped on me. There we go, right. Wouldn't do anything. The provost responded by saying that he had a dean who was drunk, a dean who was accused of sexual harassment, and a dean who was accused of misusing funds. But the law school dean never caused him any problems because he wasn't there. Never caused him any problems. So the provost said the faculty members would just have to deal with their dean. Like the provost marshal in this, provost marshal. That's not who I was. I hope they ain't trying to call me. For like the provost in this example, many organizations don't confront absentee leaders because they have other managers whose behavior is more overtly destructive. Because absentee leaders don't actively make trouble, their negative impact on organizations can be difficult to detect. And when it is detected, it's considered a low priority problem. Thus, absentee leaders are often silent organization killers. Left unchecked, absentee leaders clog an organization's succession arteries, blocking potentially more effective people from moving into important roles while adding little to productivity. Absentee leaders rarely engage in unforgivable bouts of bad behavior and are rarely the subjects of ethics investigations resulting from employee hotline calls. As a result, their negative effect on organizations accumulates over time, largely unchecked. So basically, they fly low enough under the radar to where when they are detected, they're like, "Oh, that's just a little bird. Let it pass." Instead of being taken out or taken care of, this is one of the most common incompetent leaders, and the reason we don't identify it and don't recognize it is because they fly under the radar. Isn't that crazy? And it's true.
Yes,
like
sir.
I can identify with that. It's like I've been in a situation where I had people where you're juggling a lot of things, right? You got so many cases, sexual harassment, sexual assault. You got EO complaints. You got leadership issues that are serious leadership issues where you really got to sit down and talk to the IG and somebody and see, like, is this that or is this? And then you have this person that's just absent. Not just absent, but they're absent. And that absent person can totally cause that element that they're over to rot from the inside out. And when something starts to rot, you don't always notice it until it starts to smell. Right? Like you could take a bad apple and bite into that thing and you'd be like, "Oh, it's already starting to, decay on the inside." Or, some things will tell you sooner than others, like potatoes, onions. They'll tell you. But there's some things you won't know until you bitten into that thing or you sliced it or until it's just decayed the entire object. And that's what happened in some organizations. And that's why you see when some leaders get in trouble and that everything above it goes down. It implodes. Because they allowed for that absentee leader to continue flying under the radar. And the key thing is, it was reported. So when I say that when that happens and it implodes, it's because they do the investigations and they find out that person or those people were reported and nothing was done about it. So that's what I mean. It's not just because they were absentee, it's because they were absentee and because they were low on that priority list, they didn't do anything about it. So it's crazy. What y'all got on that? Joseph, what you got?
Man, you talking now, bro. Let me see if there we go. You talking now, man. Of the things, the devastation that can happen when a leader isn't present, whether you're physically there and you're just not mentally there, or you just ain't there, period. You're absent in the mind and the body. And I think it was a few talks back where we where I can't remember who brought it up, but they brought up the movie Click and how he was floating through life with that remote control. Anytime he came upon something that he didn't want to hear, click. Let's get to the next thing.
That's right.
And then at the end, he gets to see just how much damage he did to his family, his business, everything, because he wasn't present.
That's right.
And personal experience for me, I got sick last year. I got pretty sick. And in my time away from my unit, just because I couldn't be there, when I got back, there was some crazy stuff that took place. Let me tell you, it was there's a few things. What y'all been doing? You know what I'm saying? Well, first of all, you were sick and this, that, and the other. Didn't I tell you this?
Yeah.
But it was a highlight to me for two things. First of all, life happens, right? And I can't beat myself up about that because for a while I did. You know what I mean? But the most important thing that came out of that, once I got over my little pity party, is that everybody has a role to play. And everybody's role is important. And so from that day forward, I really, really start pushing hard for everybody to understand their roles and how important they are. And that if anybody fails at their role, we will come to the same type of results. And so once again, to get back to the theme of this whole talk is that everybody has to be present, and we have formal leadership positions, but the most important to me type of leadership positions are those informal leadership positions. You don't have no title, you don't have no prestigious position, you don't have any of that, because you have the freedom to say the things that need to be said, and you have the freedom to do the things that need to be done without necessarily asking for a whole lot of permission or having to deal with a lot of bureaucracy because you're not tied to a position.
Right.
And so you can really get some stuff done if you take, what's that word, ownership of your roles and responsibilities.
That's good. You got anything you want to add to that, Matt?
Well, Joe, I've been in that position. I have unfortunately had to take time off before in more amounts than I wanted. And what it comes down to is every leader in every position, or at very least I in every leadership position I've been in, and I've definitely seen others do it, we have that second in command, that person that we trust, the one that we know, hey, if I'm gone, this guy or gal is going to be able to do what it is that I need done. Sometimes I've seen that go down the wrong hole for a number of different reasons. One, they don't really know. Two, they don't really have the experience and the know-how. And those are natural. That happens. We don't all automatically know what to do when we're thrust into a leadership position. But one of the biggest problems that we have, that I've seen anyway, is that people get put into these positions of authority and they confuse authority with power, and that becomes problematic. And that's where you start to build, in my opinion, the idea of an absentee leader. When they have confused that idea of authority with power, when they start to say, this is about me, this is about something that I can gain from this, or I can gain something from this by doing nothing and just riding off of someone else's coattails. It's a problem. And when it's allowed to go unchecked, as in a situation where a leader is just an absentee leader, not actually physically absent for a legitimate reason, those second in command, or those people who believe that they can and should be in positions of authority or power, if they confuse that word, they are seen from above as like the aggressive go-getter, right? Or like the person keeping their peers in line, when they're actually just bullies. They're actually just people trying to gain something from it. And one of the points that I had made here earlier was that the vacuum created by absentee leaders is going to be filled by someone. And sometimes that someone is going to outshine the leader and make people realize that, hey, there really is someone in charge here that we can trust. And even though they're a junior, and sometimes it's going to be very bad for the organization, because generally the people that seek out positions of authority are not the ones who should be in those positions.
Yeah, look, we know some of those. I think I won't say any names, but we all know leaders that was told, stop asking me for a position. You're never going to get a position in this organization.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we sure do.
It's like, I think that was pretty clear there. I was like, whoa. So what you said, Matt, it just hit me right there. It was like, yeah, I'm glad that there are senior leaders who even though we may think that they're so busy and they might not see it because they sit so high up, but they're able to be like, no, we listen to the people and we understand. Our hands may be tied on some things. We can't make you wear a ski mask, but you won't sit in any positions of trust in this organization. What you got, Mario?
Man, y'all always hitting the nail on the head with that one. I agree with everything that was said. But when I was thinking about listening to you guys talk, I was thinking about accountability. Like we all have to be accountable for the positions that we hold. The feet can't do what the hands do. The head can't do what the butt do. You know what I mean? We all have our positions and our roles to play. But a body without a head ain't going nowhere. You know what I mean? A body without a foot, it ain't making it too far. You know
Hold
what I
on,
mean?
come
So
on now. Come on,
all,
come on.
we all have to make sure we stay in our lane and play our roles according to the assignment that we've been given,
That's
even
right.
if it's for a season. So I was thinking about a manager that I had to deal with, you know what I mean, in my civilian time, where he was so pressed on the title and so insecure about his capabilities in working that position, that he was always unseen, unheard. He would show up for a meeting, shake hands and say hi, and then he would disappear when it came to do the work. You know what I mean? But a great leader, a great umbrella of leaders are gonna notice and see the productivity of that what we call them house mouse, that the managers just running around, you know what I mean, and seeing things, not really doing anything about it. But yeah, accountability, man, it's a hugest aspect of, I think, of this conversation when it comes to the subordinates and the leaders.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's good. I like that house mouse. That's good. The war. Hold up. If your organization is one of the relatively few with effective selection and promotion methods in place, then it may be able to identify effective and destructive leaders. Even if your organization isn't great at talent identification, both types of leaders are easy to spot once they are on the job. They also produce predictable organizational outcomes. Constructive leadership creates high engagement and productivity, while destructive leadership kills engagement and productivity. The chances are good, however, that your organization is unaware of its absentee leaders because they specialize in flying under the radar by not doing anything that attracts attention. Nonetheless, the adhesiveness of their negative impact may be slowly harming the company. I remember we were getting ready to walk out the door on a very big mission, and some of our leaders got caught flying under the radar, and it didn't go well for them. Which was good, because that's going back to what they were saying, that your leaders, your senior leaders, will be able to identify them, or the productivity will show that something's wrong. Like, why is this Sergeant E5 in this First Sergeant Detachment Sergeant meeting all the time? And you're not on leave or in a hospital or something. I don't know, but there comes a time, man. And those leaders will. They could tell, like, you can sense the water starts to boil, and then it'll start overflowing. But as it's boiling and popping out, it's also evaporating, and so that's what's happening. It's gonna go through the stages and the phases, and then eventually you won't have anything left because you allow for it to stay that way for too long. So, the war for leadership talent is real. Organizations with the best leaders will win. Reviewing your organization's management positions for absentee leaders and doing something about them can improve your talent management arsenal. Yes, it's likely that your competitors are overlooking the issue or choosing not to do anything about it. Like the university provost, doing nothing about absentee leaders is easy. Just ask an absentee leader. I like how they ended that. It's easy. Just ask the absentee leader. Yeah, you just, you show up for the big events. You take the pictures. For the grip and grins. Hey, tell us about the event that you guys did the other day. Oh, well, I'm gonna point you to my my operations NCO. I'm gonna point you to my EXO. I'm gonna point you to my, executive person. They can explain it a little bit better. Have you ever been inside of a meeting? Commander's brief
is amazing, because so many people do that in the right way so many people do that. Hey, you know what? I don't want to take this away from this person who was doing this. I could tell you 99 things about it, but I'm going to hand you to the person that actually did it. Give them the limelight, right? Or, hey, you know what? Why don't I bring this person here to explain this? But there are so many people that have seen that from the wrong angle and decided to do exactly what you just described, which is, I don't know, so let me hand it off and make it look like I don't know anything about it, or make it look like I actually am in the know about this one, and make them let me look good. There's so many people that do that the wrong way. And I'm sorry to interrupt there on that one, but so important to me that people understand when you give people credit for something, do it in the right way and don't do it as a shield because you don't know anything about what's going on.
That's right. That's why we have the training plan and the other matrices that help you. Because, Matt, tell me this now. You just said that. When we're in those meetings, can you not point out the ones that are doing it for the right reason and for the wrong reason?
100% of the time, man. 100% of the time. And you know what's funny? The junior leaders, I honestly think that, and when I say junior leaders, I'm even saying, company commanders and first sergeants there. For some reason, they think that the battalion and brigade commanders and command sergeant majors can't see that. Yeah. Holy crap, they can. They absolutely can.
They can. They absolutely can. And it's the thing that they do is called tap dance. They start doing that. And then you're like, I used to love when we used to go to brigade, and then like the brigade commander would call them out and be like, that's broken science, brother, sister. Come again.
You remember
bad math.
Yeah.
Bad math.
You remember when some of the battle would put first sergeants on the spot?
Yeah.
At the QTBs and be like, no. First sergeant's brief. Training. Let's go for first sergeants.
That's right.
And the ones who were absent, boy, look at here. The looks on their faces. Guess you ain't even doing those training plans.
Look, you see the ghost leave the body. Them jokers be like, who? They'd be like, oh my God, I wasn't prepared. I don't have my notes. Really? What did you think you were coming to do?
Yeah. What? Oh, you thought your commander was gonna do all the talking? No. You're supposed to be the master trainer of your organization. You should be able to talk training with your eyes closed.
That's right. You should know what your guys are doing for training.
Yeah. So that's good.
That is really good. I love it. So this was an article on the most common type of incompetent leader. And the most common type that they talked about was an absentee leader. I was not expecting that at all. I totally was. You know how you go into a read, a book, article, whatever, and by the title you kind of start, thinking in a certain direction, like, oh, this is going to be about this. That's why they say don't judge a book by its cover, because once you open that thing up and take the journey, and you never know which route you be on. And this is really good because absentee leaders are destructive, man. And we're talking about absentee as in they're not there. They should be walking around with a ski mask. Not absent because you're on another mission. You're overtasked. Your people can see that. Your group can see that when you're working, but you're just not able to work on certain things that they may need you to work on. But if you're overworking, all you gotta do is learn how to manage your time. You know what I mean? Because that'll burn you out. It'll burn you out. But at least they can see, hey, look, we could take some of that off your plate. Let me help you, right? Versus, hey, we're in this country, the entire unit, where's your senior commander? Like, I don't know. Sir, I check down, not up. I have no clue where that individual is. I'm on mission. I got a briefing to you in a little bit. I hope you find them. Hey, it is what it is, but I can't answer. I'm not going to answer that question, even though I might know where they are. I'm not about to answer. I'm about to throw them under the bus. Not outright. Because They getting fancy hot dogs. I'm on vacation. Like, you on vacation? When last time you called the plumber a mission, a vacation, man? Anyways, I'll step off of my soapbox. Hey, gentlemen, thank you guys so much for coming out. It's always awesome to get to spend time with you guys and talk about some leadership principles and see your take on it. I know that life happens. You know, Matt, you had some stuff. Mario, you had some stuff. Phil still has some stuff. I know you got some stuff, Joe. And you know, I'm getting ready to do some stuff. So it's always so it's appreciated. And I hope you guys, you know, have a wonderful weekend. A Veterans Day weekend. If you don't know, Golden Corral is doing their Veterans Day thing on Monday. So if you didn't get to participate yesterday, you can go out on Monday and get you some, celebrate your Veterans Day appreciation. And that's the thing, right? It's not about going out and getting free stuff. If you're like me, you probably, you know, I've learned to say thank you for your support, but it's like I like to, in this case, fly under the radar. You know, I don't want a lot of people coming up like, oh, thank you for your service, thank you for your service. And I don't want that. I'm not that guy that said thank me for my service. No. But if they find out and they do it, you know, I'm so appreciative of it because how do you say, I don't want to rob somebody else of their blessing, right? You know, they feel like you don't know what their past is. Maybe their family served in a war and their family member came back and they were not appreciated. They did not give them that love. And so America has come so far from how our predecessors that served in Korean War, Vietnam War, and all these other wars, they didn't come back and get the same love and respect. So if somebody says thank you for your service, don't get mad. Like I'm just admin. Look, you wear the uniform. They don't know what your MOS is. Tell them thank you for your support and keep on moving. If you gotta complain in your head. Don't complain out loud. I ain't do nothing. I ain't been deployed, but you signed up at a time of war. Thank you for your service. Okay.
Indeed.
And I don't want to get on my soapbox, but I just want to say thank you again for all of you that have served and are still serving. You're awesome. You're rock stars. In the words of my wife, you are heroes, and we do appreciate you. What y'all got? What y'all want to close out with? I'm gonna start with you at top, Joe, then Mario, and then Matt. You gonna close us out?
Hey man, I so enjoy these. You know, I just finished writing a sermon because of this conversation, man. So I really enjoy my time with you fellas. It's helping life come back into me, you know, more and more each weekend. And so in closing, in light of Veterans Day, I just want to throw out a little blurb. There's strength in service. As a matter of fact, anybody who has a servant's heart, strength comes through your ability to serve others. I don't think I've met a person yet that once they experience true selflessness, doing something for somebody else, that they don't feel a great reward on the inside. Nobody needs to tell them thank you, this, that, and the other, because you get to see you made a difference in somebody's life. And so for all those veterans out there, you know, who's actually hung up the boots, you've had a complete tour of duty. I certainly thank you for your service, your sacrifices that you've made, because if you have not worn uniform before, and I'm talking to all uniform policemen, firefighters, our families make great sacrifices day in and day out. And so thank you for your service, for your support. It's what makes this nation great.
That's right. Appreciate you, bro. What you got, Mario?
That's good. Yo, I just want to say, you know, blessings to all. You know, thank my Lord and Savior, who's the head of my life, and definitely the great example that I follow. Just knowing that there are leaders, like you said, that are brought here or brought into our lives or have came before us that were here to serve others, not to be served or not for, you know, accolades or positions or anything like that, but just coming out in the servant's heart. And that feeling lasts forever. It lasts longer than a position. It lasts longer than money. And it definitely has changed the way us as Americans, you know, view the service of others. So all servants, uniform, waitresses, nurses, everybody. I just want to say thank you, and I appreciate your service. Yep.
Yes, good stuff. Close this out, Matt.
Well, Joe, Mario, honestly, you two both bringing it down to everybody that is in a serving position. It's what makes our society continue to go. We all have a job, and that job serves other people. And we need to stop looking at that as the prestigious thing, with only the title. Everybody has the ability to be a leader. Everybody has the ability to be present, and I think we need to remember that. Just like you said earlier, Tay, you have that option of either thinking these people don't know me and I don't affect them, or I'm gonna obliterate that, like you said. I'm gonna change that right now, and I'm gonna be that leader that they need by impacting them and by finding out, by being present. So I think personally, I think that's one of the most important things a leader can be, is present. You can develop everything. You can learn more about people and then help them through that knowledge. But you can't do that or develop those things unless you're there, unless they trust you and know you. And they're not going to trust you and know you unless you're present. So, and I'll end on Happy Veterans Day, everybody, and thank you, everybody, for your service, whatever that service might have been.
Good stuff, man. Hey, love you guys. Y'all have a wonderful weekend. I see y'all back next week. Same place, same bat time, same bat channel. Peace.